So, I played Geometry Dash wrong. As you probably know, RobTop made 22 main levels, and while they're all great levels, the order is just kind of a mess. Seriously, why is the first demon sandwiched between levels that are way easier? Because of all of that, it's really difficult to know which level you're actually supposed to be next, but after finally beating every single RobTop level, I think I figured out the best order to play them. So if you're a new player, or you're finally trying to beat all the main levels, this is the order I would have recommended. Obviously, everyone thinks you should start with Steering Madness, but I actually think you should start with Back on Track. I know, the memes say Back on Track's the hardest level ever, but in reality, it's probably the tutorial in the game. It introduces jump pads, basic ship gameplay, and simple timings without throwing anything too difficult at you. Most importantly, it doesn't have this. I swear, every Geometry Dash player remembers dying here at least 50 times. So instead of worrying the game while smashing your face into triple spikes, start off with Back on Track, then move on to Steering Madness. Steering Madness is still easy, but those triple spikes don't feel nearly as unfair. Next up is Poltergeist. This level is incredibly important because it introduces one of the mechanics you'll use for the rest of the game. Orbs. Thankfully, RobTop makes the orb gameplay very forgiving here. There aren't crazy timings yet, so you can focus entirely on learning how they work. And trust me, you will be cooking these things for the next 20 levels. Normally, the game tells you to play Dry Out next. I actually disagree. I think base after base is a better choice. Both levels introduce upside down gameplay, but I think base after base does it in a much friendlier way. The ship gameplay is a little easier, the timings aren't as awkward, and overall it feels like a more natural step. These two levels are pretty interchangeable, so if you had to beat Dry Out first, it's not in the world. I just think base after base teaches the mechanics a little better. After that, I'd go back and beat Dry Out now that you've already experienced upside down gameplay. To finish off the beginner section, play Jumper. This level is mostly cube gameplay, which is perfect because cube is still the game mode you're probably most comfortable with. It also has upside down gameplay, but compared to Can't Let Go, it is much easier. I remember getting completely destroyed by Can't Let Go's upside down section, while Jumper felt pretty manageable. The only tricky part is the upside down ship. Once you understand it, it's actually pretty simple. And after beating Jumper, you're finally ready for the first real difficulty spike. So the tutorial is finally over. From here on out, RobTop expects you to actually know what you're doing. And for the first victim is Can't Let Go. I actually think Can't Let Go is underestimated. Sure, it isn't the flashiest level, but this is where Geometry Dash starts teaching you one very important lesson. You just can't hold anymore. There are awkward orb timings, blind jumps, and that infamous upside down section near the end. I remember getting stuck there for way too longer than I'd like to admit. But once you beat this level, your timing gets much better. So, next up is Time Machine. If Triple Spikes had a final boss, this would be it. The beginning honestly isn't too bad. There are a couple of tricky timings, but nothing's too crazy. And once you reach the green section, and suddenly you're doing upside down triple spikes twice. There's also a little bit memory mixed in, and the final upside down ship can catch newer players off guard. But I actually think Time Machine is a perfect bridge between the easier levels and the insane. Speaking of insane, I would actually place X-Step before Cycles. I know the official order says Cycles because it introduces a ball, but hear me out. To reach the ball in Cycles, you have to survive 30% of this. Yeah, no thanks. X-Step introduces the ball almost immediately. The early ball gameplay is forgiving, fake orbs teach you to actually pay attention, and beside one harder section near the end, the level's pretty fair. It teaches the ball without making you suffer first. Then, beat Cycles. If Triple Spikes were an actual level, it would be Cycles. The first third of the level is filled with jump pads, fake orbs, and jumps where you actually have to time them instead of holding. The middle ball section isn't terrible, but the ending definitely keeps you awake. Honestly, I always thought Cycles was harder than X-Step. You could convince me this deserves an insane rating. Now we reach one of my favorite RobTop levels, blast processing. This level is awesome because it introduces the wave, and thankfully RobTop doesn't throw you into impossible wave gameplay right away. The wave sections are simple enough to learn, while the rest of the level mixes together ships, UFO, cube, and ball. It feels like the game saying, congratulations, you've learned the basics, now here's everything at once. After blast processing, I played Geometrical Dominator. This level is one mechanic everyone remembers: the memory. First time through, you're probably crashing. Second time, probably crashing again. But once you actually learn it, it isn't nearly as bad as people make it out to be. Next, Dash. This level looks so terrifying. I mean, it came out almost 10 years after the original level. The decoration is insane, the camera moves, the effects are everywhere, but gameplay-wise, it is honestly one of the easier insanes. It introduces the swing, which is surprisingly forgiving, and it also gives you your first experience with the spider Dash orbs, which you will see again later. Basically, Dash looks like a demon, but secretly wants to be your friend. Then, Electroman Adventures. I love this level. The music, the gameplay, the sync, everything. But more importantly, this level teaches mini gameplay. Mini ship, mini UFO, mini ball. You're going to need all of those later. So it's much better to learn them here than during electrodynamics while you're panicking. And finally, finish this section off with Finger Dash. This level introduces the spider, the dash orbs, and a bunch of mechanics that feel straight out of Geometry Dash 2.1. The spider gameplay is actually pretty forgiving. The first half of the level is surprisingly easy, and while the mini wave can be tight, it's excellent preparation for what's coming next. We've reached the levels that make me question my life choices. If you made it this far, congratulations. You're officially better than most Geometry Dash players. But now, the game stops being nice. First up, Clutterfunk. This level was my biggest roadblock for a long time. It starts off innocent enough. You think, hey, it isn't that bad. Then the mini ship shows up, player. And suddenly everything gets way tighter. The ball sections become harder. The ending throws orb spams at you, and the whole level demands more consistency. But here's the good news: if you beat Clutterfunk, you're about to unlock a lot of confidence. Next is Theory of Everything, one of my favorite RobTop levels. It's fast, it's satisfying, and has the mechanic that decides whether you love it or hate it: mini UFO. If the mini UFO didn't exist, I'd honestly say Clutterfunk is harder, but there's tiny UFO clicks, they're brutal. Still, learning them here makes the demon feel much more manageable. Then comes Hexagon Force. Officially and insane. Unofficially, half the community calls it the demon, and honestly, I understand why. This level introduces dual gameplay and expects you to learn it fast. The dual ball is especially difficult, and the constant speed changes don't exactly help. I think it belongs as an insane, but this is definitely where demon level mechanics start appearing. And now, Electrodynamics. This level has started more arguments than almost any other RobTop level. Is it a demon? Isn't it insane? My answer, yes. Seriously, this level is 3 times speed, mini ship, normal ship, tight flying, fastball gameplay, and quadruple spikes. It's short, but it never lets you react. If you can beat Electrodynamics, you're ready for demons. So let's beat one. Theory of Everything 2, in my opinion, is the easiest RobTop demon. It focuses heavily on learning click patterns. The ship sections look intimidating, but they're surprisingly consistent once you practice. The UFO sections are challenging, but fair. It'll probably take a lot of attempts, but eventually it clicks, literally. Next is Deadlocked. Again, this is just my opinion. I think Deadlocked is the second easiest RobTop demon. And I know some people would swap this with Clubstep, and honestly, I get it. But I found Deadlocked easier to learn. Low focuses heavily on wave gameplay. It introduces mini wave. There's some memory, some orb spam, and a couple tricky transitions. But once you understand the patterns, it becomes surprisingly consistent. And finally, Clubstep. I know, this is probably the most controversial placement in the video, but hear me out. Club Step isn't just difficult, it's confusing. The level constantly asks questions like, is that spike real? Can I jump here? Wait, why did I die? There are fake spikes, blinds, jumps, hidden paths, and some of the most memory-heavy gameplay in the entire main collection. It is also extremely shift-focused, so even if you know the level, you still have to execute, and that's why. For me, Club Step is the hardest RobTop level. So that's my orders. Now, is this the perfect order? Probably not. Everyone struggles with different game modes. If I had to start Geometry Dash all over from scratch, this is exactly how I would do it. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, subscribe if you're new, and see you all in the next one. Goodbye.